Hey everyone, welcome back to Mini Bike Mike's Garage. So this is going to be video number 3 on this Honda Z50A that we've been working on. Just for those who are new, who haven't watched the other videos, you're just now checking in with us. The first video, we kind of did a walk around the bike. We got into the engine to see if we could get it to start. It didn't run. We wound up taking the top end apart. It had no compression or little compression. The rings had disintegrated off of the piston. So we wound up putting a top end of a CT70 on it and actually got it to fire off, and it didn't sound too bad. I wanted to check the transmission and do some of those sorts of things just to make sure that the engine was worthy. So that's why I put the top end on. I ordered parts, new rings, gaskets, and all those sorts of things for the top end. And while we were waiting on that to come in, we went ahead and did a second video, and that was basically cleaning up the bike. We took the forks out, cleaned it up. We put new gators. We had to fix the petcock on the tank and just some things like that. And so we've got it to where it is what you see now. So when the second video ended, one thing we didn't have was the headlight. And I went on eBay and I hated to do it, but I spent the money, 120 bucks, and I think it's an aftermarket headlight bucket, but it came with the light and it came with the emblem on the top. It did not come with the little black plastic plug that's supposed to be in the back of the bucket, but that's okay. But now we have pretty much a complete looking bike. I did not change any of the cables. If you go back and watch the other videos, the front brake cable is the incorrect cable. It doesn't have a brake light switch in it, and I don't have the brake light switch that's supposed to be mounted on the other side of the frame over here, but we're just gonna rock it the way it is. So today's video, I got the top end all swapped out back to the 49cc. I had asked guys if they wanted to do the 49cc or leave it the 70, and I was already kind of leaning toward putting it back to stock in the 50cc, and a lot of you guys were that way too. You know, they were like, well, save the 70 parts for when you're working on a 70. But anyway, so today, hopefully this will be the last video on this bike. I just buttoned this up, so I'm ready to test it and make sure it's going to run. And then if that is the case, then we will throw it in the bike and wrap this project up. So I've just got a generic coil, because the coil is actually, for the bike, is actually mounted on the bike. So I've got the black wire you see here is connected to the frame of the coil, because it needs to be grounded, and then I've got it clipped just onto a hole here in the engine case, so it's grounding the coil to the engine. And then now I've got another wire. The hot wire is going from the coil, the wire on the coil, to the black wire coming out of the engine. As long as we're not grounded on anything, there we go. Okay, we should get it to fire. I did, if you go back and watch the other videos, the bowl, the clip that holds the bowl on the bottom of the carburetor was missing, and they had just taken a piece of wire and wrapped it, and so it was kind of loose. I found a clip that I've got to work. I don't know that it's 100% the correct one. It seems to run into the screw over here where you can drain the bowl. It doesn't I think it's on there good and secure. I don't think it'll pop off, but I just wish it would go on a little bit farther. So I don't think it's the right clip, but you know, oh well. So I've got my handy dandy gas hooked up here, the fuel hooked up. I think we've got all the electrical. I've got throttle, and this was the throttle that was on the bike, and I think it's the throttle I'm just going to go back with. They have cut off the perch on the handlebars for the brake, and I've looked high and low, and I don't have a handlebar that I want to sacrifice to cut off the perch to put on that one. So I think I'm just going to put this unit back on there. That way it can have a handle. It's got a snappy throttle instead of the internal one. So anyway, so let's flip a choke up. Run it too long without an exhaust on it. So awesome. So now I'll take this stuff off of it and we will move the bike over here, set it on it, and try and get it all bolted together and finish this bike up. But it sounds pretty decent. I think it's going to be a fun little bike. So all right, let me shut you guys down. I'm going to move the bike over here and then we will continue. Well, let's see how hard this is going to be to set that on there. Might be a trick getting this off this stand. You know what? I don't need these bolts. How heavy is one of these little bikes? Too bad. On there, yeah. Oh, and I left the bolts over on the other bench. Should have probably taken the brake pedal off. All right, let's leave it sit there for a second while we grab the bolts. Alright. There's one. And two. Well, that wasn't horrible, was it? Let's see, that's as low as that will go. I gotta get a wrench, take off the bolts so I can take it off this stand. I'll let you guys watch me wrestle this last one out, just in case I drop it or something funny happens. Not too bad, not too bad at all. Let's get this out of the way. Yeah, get in there. There we go. It's amazing what just a little bit of cleanup will do to these bikes. You know, I can really appreciate the guys that take all the effort and restore them and make them look super, super nice, but I also appreciate ones that are just cleaned up and just, you know, made presentable little riders out of also. Okay, I gotta get the chain out so we can put the chain back on it. I've got to figure out how, I'm probably gonna have to take this off the cap. Will that slide through there? Just my luck, it won't slide. All right, so I'm gonna have to feed that back down through there. So bring you guys right back. All right, got the chain on, buttoned up, got the engine bolts in it, all buttoned up. Which way does this go? Looks like it goes this direction. That looks like that goes like that. We've got to go to the other side and put the exhaust on it. I've got the throttle put on it. Got that, have that installed. Now I noticed that this aftermarket throttle has got a kill switch, an on-off switch on it, and it's got some decent wiring. I think we'll actually try and get that to function. We'll wire that into the coil, but we're going to do that after we hear it run. Let's switch. Oh, get up in there. It's such a simple thing. I have the hardest time with that. All right, there we got it. Hopefully I'm not messing up here, and the muffler has to be in place first. I don't really know. We're not going to tighten this up yet in case we need to be able to move it. Yeah, I might need to. I've got to get the muffler to slide over that, and I might not have enough room with that installed. Daggone it. Somebody was yelling at me, weren't you, before I put that on there? They're like, don't do it yet. No, doesn't go yet. Those slide together there. Let's start all over here. too far slidden to go. All right. Well, did it get any easier to put it together the second time? Not really. I'm still struggling with it. There we go. Just gotta hold your mouth right or something. Okay. There's a bolt. Oh boy, too far. I'm gonna put a washer on that. My left hand's not working with me today. God, this is just one of those days that everything is going to be a struggle. Okay, let's tighten this up here. I do not have the stinger portion of it. We're going to try and fix something up there. But I want to hear it, make sure it runs, and we're going to maybe take it for a ride first. All right. Yeah, what I'm thinking about is taking an old piece of handlebar that I've cut off and see if we can't slide that in there and put that on there as an exhaust extension, so we're just not blowing it right onto the fender. You know, I've not tested this tank since we re-welded it. I don't see any drips, do you? Well, let's see if it will start. I think I'm going to move you guys to the other side, back over to the other side of the bike real quick. Let's see what happens. because this aftermarket throttle that somebody had already put on this bike has a kill switch, and I checked it and it works just fine, I went ahead and hooked it up to the bike. And you might ask, well, how did I do that? The wiring off of that just basically has two wires, a black one and a green one. The black one needs to come down and it wires into the harness where the coil plugs in. And you've got this black wire right here. Am I looking at the right one? Yeah, I believe I am, yeah. That's the black wire that comes from the harness that plugs directly into the wire of the coil. So I just made a little jumper, put a male bullet that would plug into that, and then the other end of this has a double female, and the wire from the coil plugs into one, and the black wire from the kill switch plugs into the other one. And then the green wire from the kill switch, I just grounded it to the frame right here. And so now with this in the run position, it will go ahead and go straight to the coil and run. And then as soon as you kick it to kill, it grounds it out. So on this exhaust, it may not muffle it much, but I've cut a little section of handlebar to give it kind of a turnout. And I'm gonna take all this off. I've got it all taken loose. I've made a couple marks. I'm gonna take that back to my welder and I'm gonna try and weld all that up. And hopefully maybe it'll make it a little bit quieter. All right, there's the exhaust kind of all buttoned up. I actually put a gasket in it this time. I hadn't put a gasket, exhaust gasket here because I knew I was going to be taking this on and off a couple times, but I think I've got it all buttoned up and shouldn't have to take it off anymore. So the kill switch does work. It's a little louder than what I would want. This thing is pretty empty. I'm not sure exactly what all is supposed to be in there, but you can see through the thing. I'm not too familiar with Z50s. You know, I know I've said that before, so, but I think that'll work. All right, let's see how she rides. Oh, you installed a kill switch, Mike. Remember that. Everyone, I think that's going to wrap up this video on this little bike. I'm super pleased with it. It cleaned up pretty nice. It actually turned out better than what I anticipated. Swapping the rings on that piston got us a good running engine. It seems to be just purring like a kitten right now. I have the key on. Yeah, key, switch. I say that, now we'll run. But it's just sitting there, just idling away. brings itself back down. You know, when I took it out for a ride, it shifted fantastically. No chunkiness, no hesitation in the shifting up and down. Just a smooth little bike. I did screw up on one thing that I'm going to have to go back and fix, and that was the routing of this rear brake cable. There is a piece of tube that runs from this piece of frame over to the other frame. There's a piece of horizontal tube here, and I put the brake cable on top of that piece of tube. Well, that's the exact same space that the exhaust takes up over there, the muffler takes up. So I need to have that cable underneath that piece of tubing to keep it from being fried by the exhaust. So, daggone it, but that's okay. You know, there's a couple little things like that I may go back and fix and work on. I'm missing an air cleaner. We'll keep an eye out for one of those maybe. But I'm happy with just the aftermarket exhaust, or the aftermarket throttle. That's working great. The kill switch, I kind of like having that. So, you know, I think I'm going to keep this one. I don't have any grandkids. My wife and I don't have any grandkids yet. But one of these days we hope to. And I think this would be a fun little bike. Be able to throw them on when they get old enough to ride. So, I know I've had a couple people ask about this one, but I think I'm going to keep this one around for a while. If I change my mind and decide to sell it, I'll let you guys know, put it up on the channel. But anyway, I think this one's going to stick with me. So, guys, appreciate you watching. Thanks for all the comments. So, if you've got any questions or anything, hit me up. Check out the description of the video, and I'll put links to any tools and any of those parts and those sorts of things that I use. I'm going to try and do a better job at that, of getting those links in the description. So check that out. Anyway, guys, thanks. See you on the next video.